tuning in. I appreciate all your support, but you know how you want to stay connected so you can keep seeing amazing content. You have to subscribe to the YouTube link below, YouTube CV space K, or where all podcasts are heard. It doesn't matter if it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, wherever you listen to podcasts, we are there. I have an amazing episode, featured artist IntotheSilo. I am excited about this one. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Amazing.
Very good.
Yeah, looking forward.
Thanks for having us.
Yo, anytime. Look, before we get into it, I want to air their music. Audience, let me know what you're thinking. We're going to preview their first music video live on here, premiere set. So we're going to show it. Let me hear your feedback, and then we'll get into the questions.
Last shot of Josh. I don't know about you guys, but I love that one.
Yeah.
Awesome. Amazing music, amazing video. Look, before we get into this, what led to the creation of this group, right, Josh? You know, they mentioned that you were the founder of this group.
Yeah.
Why put it together?
So I've always been a crazy metalhead ever since I was a little kid. Kind of went in and out of metal, listening to and playing and all that shit. And so I got done with college, moved to Chicago, and finally 8 years after I lived in Chicago, after being in several bands, I was just like, screw this. I want to play something heavy and just straightforward. And so my buddy Eric O'Connor got me in touch with Anthony via the internet. And then Tade, I knew already because he was a regular at one of my bars. And then he showed me a video of him screaming. I was like, sweet, you're in. And then Zach and I, we worked together at a place called High Dive. And I used to see him all the time. And we used to party together and hang out. And then Drew, I just met because I worked at a bar also at High Dive as well. and he would come in for lunch all the time, and he said, "Hey, I play bass. I want to join your band." I'm like, "Sweet, let's do it."
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
What, I just kind of thinking about how music has evolved. I was thinking about growing up, Metallica was huge. Korn was huge, right?
Yeah.
Red Hot Chili Peppers has always been huge, and it kind of had like a resurgence in kind of like the early 2000s, right?
Totally.
Where is, or would you classify yourself technically as heavy metal, right? And that's always the kind of debate. Is it more, grungy? Like, where does that fall in line? And then where is that genre of music going?
Are you still talking to me, Cody?
Or anyone? Yeah.
Okay. Following us, dude.
Yeah. For me, I'm now comfortable saying I play in a metal band, but I just say metal because I don't really know the subgenre. I don't really necessarily like subgenres because they kind of like get really confusing. Mm-hmm. But I just know that one thing is really cool, and the reason why I'm comfortable of saying our band is metal now is that one article that did some quick thing on us compared us to Napalm Death. So that's kind of where I'm at with that,
Perfect. Look, I don't know if you guys know, I tried my interest at guitar, so this one is coming to Tony. I'm not a very good guitarist, I just simply lack the discipline. But growing up, I'm a huge Prince, huge Hendrix, Van Halen, Clapton. I'm trying to think of who else that I'm really
Van Halen.
Yeah, I said Van, Stevie Ray Vaughan. Like, I just like guitars, John Mayer, I just like the guitar sound. Tony, why like, what prompted you? What led you into becoming a guitarist? Like, what kept you going? Because a lot of, for us, I just wanted to be, I wanted to be a rock star. Everybody wanted that rock star life. You saw, the kind of Hendrix movies, and you saw Woodstock was like, I could do this, but to stay with it, that's a whole nother thing. What made you stay with it?
It became an outlet, like something like a sneeze or an itch. Like, I have to do it. It's beyond I want to do it. I have to do it. I have to get it out of me. Right. So that's what's kept me going. I started, believe it or not. So that name you heard before, Eric O'Connor, that's my best friend growing up. Right. He kind of was instrumental in me starting to play the guitar. Worst guitar teacher ever. But, if you watched him, you kind of picked up some cool things if you could just pay attention. Right. But it was that, and I saw my other friends in a band, and I saw the camaraderie and just like the feeling they were having. I'd watched their practices, and I was like, I want to do that. Like, I want to do that. And then my competitiveness. I played sports, in high school. I was a 2-sport athlete, right? So I was always been competitive. So I was like, man, I want to get really good at it now. Like, let's see how good I can get. Nowhere near where I really want to be, but that's the fun, is that like you're never satisfied. Like, it kind of sounds like that's bad, but like there's always a new way to look at something. I mean, it's like in a Rubik's Cube, but it plays really cool tunes if you do something right. You know what I mean? You don't have to be a genius to figure it out. And I never really learned other people's music. I just started writing my own.
Oh, wow. What has separated you from, I think every guitarist, Tony, has their own unique style. I don't think one guitarist is the same as another. Jimmy Page is not Van Halen, right? Like, he rushed it, right? Two different styles, two different really people. I mean, they might be similar in some aspects, but as far as their grip on music, like, it's a totally different vibe, right? And you said, you just started writing your own. What led you down kind of this creative path?
Well, I should say I kind of take back. I never learned a whole song, right? I learned certain riffs of bands. Like, I learned Metallica's Enter Sandman. And like, just like the main stuff, the cool, like, you could play it once and everyone's like, yeah, right. Like, I learned that stuff. I don't.
Stairway to Heaven. Yeah.
I didn't even give that a shot. I never wanted to even try it. I was like, no, these guys do it perfectly. I don't need to hear anyone else do it, really. But I guess it's kind of like any other type of art. Everyone has their own vision and their own view, right? The way I see the world is different than the way Tade, Josh, and Zach and Drew see the world. So the music I write, and I was actually thinking about this. I write like, I was telling Josh and he laughed about it, but like I think of like, remember the movie 300? Any scene where they're going into some epic battle, I try to write like what would be playing if it was a metal song. Seriously, like I think of like epicness like that. I just think of what's epic, what's gonna just bring down the house.
Yeah.
And then I brought, finally we found Zach, who I'd like Zach to get his take on this because he's the other guitar player, but he's a lot more. He did say it pretty well. He is kind of the feeling, the melody, and I'm kind of the brute force. If that's a good way to put it. I don't know, Zach, if you have your own.
Yeah, no, that's what I would say. I mean, when I joined the band, I was just like given some demos. I didn't even go through Josh. I just found Tony posted on some Facebook page and then found out Josh was in it later. But yeah, I would say when it comes to like, Tony's style, the writing is what stood out to me. It was very like natural, very like feeling inside of metal. It kind of escaped some of the stuff that I've been hearing similar though. And so, kind of like, that's what we play off of. He's got these just like hammer riffs. So they're just like heavy as hell. And I try to come in with my playing. And even though, I've been playing since I was like in third grade, so like probably 20 years. And I don't know how he learned so fast, but his speed is immense. So I try to keep up with that and add a little bit of just flair here and there to kind of, I guess bring it all together and try to get closer. And we go through and I'll play something one way and he'll be like, maybe a different way, or, stick it like this. And it's a collaborative process, but yeah, I think very much like, I think the style that's unique is it's very, it like tries to like convey a feeling as much as like trying to be flashy. It's more about like, all right, what's just like heavy? What's going to make you feel something? What's going to make you want to get up and move? What's going to want to like, what's going to help take you to wherever you're trying to go through like an expression of music and give you that energy you need to like just fucking push, So I don't know. That's
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was gonna say, the funny story behind that, Cody, is I did put a post up in Facebook group like for metal guitar players, like, hey, looking to add another guitar player, yada yada yada. I was like, hey, I found this guy. I go to band practice with Tade and Josh and the rest of them. I found this guy, and I think he might be pretty good. And I showed Josh, and he's like, I used to work with that guy. I was like, you knew he existed and didn't want to tell me?
Yeah, I had totally forgotten that Zach even played guitar. And I had known this dude for like two or 3 years or something like that. I don't know. I'm a dummy sometimes.
You poor soul.
Well, I don't.
You're good. I got one coming to you, Tade. But one more question for you, Zach, before I switch to Tade.
Yeah.
So Tony mentioned about seeing the world through music, right? You said you're more of the melody behind the group, right? So how do you, like for I think sometimes when it comes to evaluating music, people like to put rubber stamps on it, right? Like they think all gospel music sounds like this, and that's not true. They think all rap sounds like this. They think all R&B, all heavy metal, all rock, classic rock. But every song and every group has its own different flair because it's really through the artist's eyes, right? So when you're playing, like, how do you interpret like heavy metal? How do you paint a picture and really see the world through your instrument?
That's a good question. I like to think of it as what I see through metal, and what drew it to me was a lot of that, honestly, like a positive energy, like a good outlet sort of thing. Because, you get all kinds of emotions running through you. And I think there's a lot of I see a lot of chaos. I see a lot of, confusion and fear and stuff like that. And I think, what I've always tried to do, what I feel like I, try to express is kind of just like a line through it in a way to kind of bring it together and to sort of like, walk through it, if you will, and understand the purpose of it. I guess that's what I kind of get in metal. a bit like also just kind of being comfortable with that chaos and that noise and that dissonance sometimes, and just kind of harnessing moments like that for your own like good. But yeah, I mean, I totally agree. What's funny about genres is it's kind of theoretical, but when you think about musical voice, I often think like a lot of people get lumped together who are trying to sort of say the same thing or say it in similar ways, and I think it can kind of be cool for people to kind of, you know, get to know other musicians who are trying to say something and be like, oh, well, we're saying similar things, let's hang out or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. That's kind of what I think about metal and what I try to express through it.
That makes a lot of sense. You know, you guys have an interesting makeup. Tade, so you're the singer, right? You know, group music, as diverse as music is really not. You're right? like you know, NSYNC looks one way, Boyz II Men looks another way, right? You know, a lot of similarities, but obviously, Tade, you're not, right? And that's a unique trait. So, what attracted you to this group, and then how did you find yourself, you know, in this market? Because, you know, if people are thinking like heavy metal, traditionally you might not come to mind, right? Right. It's fine when people think of, you know, my job, they don't think of me, but you know it works. So how did you make this transition, and then how do you take this? Because I think it's beautiful, and I'm not saying that to be funny. You know, I think it's amazing. I think this is what's needed in music. How do you take this pure collaboration, this pure energy, and then create something so unique that the market has to now respond to it?
I'll answer the first question though. I'll tell you this: coming from where I'm from, because I'm from Arkansas, and I was always passionate about music. My family, like, they kind of like taught me some, like, some certain ways how to like to hold a pitch and everything, and so I've learned a lot of that. And I guess that for me, my first time seeing any rock music, it was just like I remember seeing Nonpoint on screen. And then like Linkin Park, and I was just like, man, this is wild. What is this? And like, I just didn't have an access or any outlet, and then when I finally got a hold of it, like, man, I want to see more of that. So over the past few years, I was always interested, but I just had to like put the pieces together. So this isn't my first attempt being in a band. My first attempt was more or less the reason why Josh was able to see that video of me, because I've started my previous band before. It seemed promising for me because I was like, I never thought I'd get this far, but for some magical reason, of course, college, work, and I was just like, God, I don't think I could do it. So then we just ended up breaking up. But I still had that video, and so showing Josh that video, I'm glad that he felt that way, that I should join the band. But me personally, like the creativity that I have, I tend to like, find some kind of balance, because I mean, I love music. I not only listen to rock or metal, and I'm also into like hip hop and electronic, and I even have jazz nights on Mondays. Like, I just bounce around and just take in the creativity and how they approach the music, in the same way how I approach either Tony's riffs or just hearing like Josh just goofing on the drums, and I'm like, I immediately like that. But the only challenge I feel like was just like figuring out my cadence. And I think that was something that I had to learn to find a balance for. And so luckily for me, it's all trial and error. And in the end, it just ends up working out,
Oh, well said. Well said. So what's next? Right. So, Kid Rock, who I was a fan of, now I'm just kind of battling between the two, because it's like Kid to do something and they don't say something politically. I'm like, Kid, just shut up, So he said something that I think is an amazing quote. He says, everybody gets into music because they like music. He's like, I hate when musicians say I got into music because I wanted to be a musician. He's like, what's the real reason? He's like, I wanted the money, right? So what is that end goal? So Josh, I mean, is that an end goal? You guys just put out the album, 1 billion streams, you go platinum, world tour, life changes. Is that the goal?
I mean, that would be awesome.
Sure.
Yeah, and I guess that's kind of the goal too. But honestly, that whole quote from Kid Rock, I've always actually disagreed with that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Because I knew I wasn't going to make money. And when I started playing music, my first show that I played was like August of 1997 is when I played my first show with my high school punk band. And I knew right then that was like, dude, I got to have this in my life, regardless if I make money from it or not. And so for 24 years now, I've just been doing that same thing. And I knew that a lot of the bands too that I was like playing in or into, some of them are really marketable, but the stuff that I was really like stoked on, like this kind of shit, sometimes it's pretty hard to market that, you know? But then again, look at Cannibal Corpse, look at Die Artist Murder, and these are homies of homies from Tucson, Gatecreeper, and they're like doing really well. So like, I don't know. It's not necessarily my end goal because I would be doing it. I've been doing it for free for 24 years anyway. You know, I've never gotten to the point where I could like buy groceries with my tour money that I have left over. It's never been like that. It's just, I just keep doing it because like Anthony said before, it's kind of just something inside me that has to get out. And for me, personally, being a drummer, I get to use all of my limbs, and it basically just feels like if I have a 2-hour session, it feels like I ran like 10 miles. You know what I mean? So it's like really good exercise. It's really good for like my emotions and shit like that. And because I'm so passionate and I love music so much, like it kind of helps me take a big breath. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
regardless of money, I'm always going to be doing it anyway.
I think the main objective here for all of us is like just one, to have fun, write some super awesome, heavy riffs and songs, and have fun.
Yeah.
And I think the rest will follow, as long as we do everything else right. You know what I mean? Like, but as far as like social media and getting our name out there, but I think if we just enjoy what we're doing, it'll catch on.
Yeah. And I think I've always told these dudes too, like I can see us doing some pretty good stuff because our chemistry for 5 guys, it's like, it's one of the best bands I've ever been in as far as that's concerned. And I've been in like several, you know, I'm not like an accomplished musician by any means, but I've been doing this for a really long time and played with like tens of, you know, hundreds of different people. And this mixture of dudes has just been great. Like really empathetic, and like we can talk about stuff, and like if something's like not going right, we can all figure it out. Like it's been really great.
Yeah, I I feel the same way, with only like a slight twist to it, because I think for me, what really helps me write too is the fact that like it's also just having like the platform to at least, you know, convey an idea or like a story or something. And I feel like all my life I've always wanted to like, you know, share this kind of like experience in this conversation with other people, even if that conversation is just me lyrically spewing out things that like either you knew about or didn't know about, but just like sharing that with everyone. I feel like that's my excitement, you know, because then I can just sit here and say all these things. And if fame and fortune came with it, I'm like, oh, cool. You know, I'm like, I just take it and I'm like, all right, whatever. But also something I do want to address that makes it a little bit more different is the fact that like, you know, I still want to connect with the fans, even if I'm passionate about my music. I'm also passionate, or at least happy to know that there are people who enjoy what I do, and I want to discuss that with them, you know. So that's also something that gets me excited about this.
Totally.
Sure. So hypothetical, let's say Sony reaches out IntotheSilo. Look, guys, I love you guys. You know, I'll pay for the first tour, first international tour, $1 million signing bonus. Do you quit your job? Tony, 2 times, do you get scrappy anymore?
Hold on. I want to say something. If Sony was on that, if Sony's like, yo, I want to buy into you guys, I'm like, yo, where's my PS5 at though? Like, let me get that first. Like, let me get that first.
You can keep the PS5. I'll take the $1 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, I would immediately call Jeremy. Jeremy's our boss. That's why he's at it.
Oh.
He said this is the last day.
I'd be like, listen, we need to have a Zoom meeting real quick. I gotta tell you something.
Yeah.
I'm out.
I've had conversations about this with my fiance, and she's like, yeah, you would have to take that and we would figure it out. I'd be like, I'd be rich enough to fly you out wherever we're going anyway, so why not? She's like, yeah, do it, So
I would take it, and then I mean, I wouldn't leave my job right away though. I won't say no more, but I wouldn't leave my job right away.
yeah, he's got a dope job. He's got a dope job.
However, though, I definitely would be more likely to do that and then try to invest into my hometown, because then that'll just be the new norm for me. Like, hey, all I do is like play music, invest in my town, and that's like, bread and butter for me.
Awesome.
Yeah, same thing Toddy said right there. Take Toddy.
Toddy.
take the money and run, but definitely invest in some other things, as well. But I mean, Sony, like we're telling you, when it comes to marketing this music, Sony's not going to reach out with $1 million. But
Nope.
if someone wants to fund a tour or a record, our email is IntotheSilo@gmail.com. So
watch they be like, yo, let me give you like a meal for one song. Yeah, make another one.
Well, first off, if it was Sony and they came with only $1 million, I'm like, yo, you guys are lowballing us. I know you got more money.
Yeah.
I've actually had I've had discussions about that. I told you, Josh, with my fiance, like she's like, would you guys quote unquote sell out to make it? And I was like, what do you mean? How much selling out are we talking about here? Like
put on a mask.
I'm not put. Yeah, probably. I'll be more inclined to face paint and put on a mask than I would to have clean vocals.
Yeah, absolutely.
They'd probably make it to the new Buckethead.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Nice name drop there, Cody.
We gotta do like 12 albums a year then.
Right.
So
what's rolling down? So you guys released it. You released the music video. You put the album out. Been listening to it. What else is rolling out for 2021? What's kind of on the horizon that you want to tell the people about?
Boys, you mind if I go?
Go for it.
All right. So my vision after we got done with the EP, the 6-song EP, was because this is like kind of, in my experience, a natural progression of songs. Whatever songs we wanted to re-record, if all of them, out of the first 6, we could do that and add them to a full length. But as it's going now, we're writing new songs, and those songs, the sound is kind of changing a little bit. So we're kind of picking from the first 6. We're probably going to do like 3 maybe or 4. I think 4 was what was the last conversation we had. And then we're going to add them to the ones that we're doing now and do a full length. And my goal for me personally is to have the album released by the early fall, if not late summer, something like that.
So, but I mean, overall, like what we're looking to do is to get back into the studio.
Yeah.
We have the new material, right? Finish that. We have a live stream show coming up. Tade, I'm not exactly sure is it the 18th, March 18th?
March 13th.
March 13th. So we have that coming up, which we're really excited about. So that's what's on the horizon next, is just getting back into the studio, putting out another 6 or 7 tracks or something like that. And then probably make another video, just repeat the cycle. And hopefully by then, things have opened up and we can bring a show and you can come see us live, Cody.
That'll work. I'll be there. I'll be in the front row. Trust me. I will definitely, and I'll take it off
my face.
I'll be there. Well, look, I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for being on. It is what it is. But before I go, tell the people where they can connect with you. Josh, where can they follow you? Where can they download the music? And we'll go around. You guys can give your social media. Where can they connect with you?
All the major platforms, all the major music platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, that kind of shit. YouTube, we have our video on there. Tade, do we have our video anywhere else than that? It's just YouTube, right?
Just YouTube and then Vimeo. Yeah, Vimeo.
All right. Yeah, it's just all the major platforms, major music platforms, and then YouTube for our video.
Awesome. Look, connect with IntotheSilo. You guys want to shout out your social media hyperlinks so that they can follow you? Because I know Tony Two Toms is mad on IG.
Yeah.
At Tony Two Toms. Get with it.
Awesome. Tade?
First off, let's just also add IntotheSilo, because that's definitely one of them you definitely should go to, IntotheSilo on Instagram. And then if you want to follow me for some magical reason, You can follow me at Todday, TODDAY _ on Instagram. And then, yeah, that's what you can find on at Twitter. I'm trying to do better at Twitter because I know Twitter is the place. So, it doesn't hurt to check it out. So
Thank you.
I'm at DJ _ Todday.
Awesome. Zach.
Yeah, you can find me. I pretty much only use Instagram right now, but my tag is Pretty Heavy Yes Pizza. I try to put riffs up every once in a while, shout out new music, and that's pretty much it. It's not a whole lot going through there, but if you want to connect and say, hey, I'm always down for you to slide into my DMs, etc.
Perfect. Josh, you on social media? I
am. I'm on Instagram. It's my tag name is Dr. Humstash, and I'll tell you how to spell it. You're gonna have to figure that out by yourself.
I like it. I like this humor. Guys, connect with them, support Into the Silo, follow these guys. Look, you know what the cool thing about following is? It's free. It costs you nothing. All you have to do is say, look, saw the episode. I like what you guys are doing. Giving you mad props. Connect with Tony, connect with Todday, connect with Zach, connect with Josh. Follow that Instagram handle. I'm going to follow it after this because that just sounds funny to me. But I appreciate my guys so much. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Hey, what's up, everybody? You like what you saw? Were you entertained? Were you informed? We want to keep seeing amazing content. Subscribe at the link below. YouTube, CV Space K. You connect where all podcasts are streaming. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor. Connect with me. I want to connect